Here's a controversial opinion. If you can afford to retire, and I mean truly afford it, not just wing it, I'm going to encourage you to do it sooner rather than later. And I know the typical advice is to work as long as possible to maximize your nest egg. And I certainly bought into that philosophy myself. I also bought into the philosophy that to stay mentally sharp and to have identity is that I had to stay in my job. Frankly, I wish I had retired earlier than I did. And today I'm going to tell you why retiring earlier might be the smartest financial and life decision you could ever make. Because now that I have fully retired, first after retiring from my law practice, and second after closing my art gallery, I wish that I had retired sooner. Reason number 5 on my list is the one that people rarely talk about, and it might just change how you think about your whole retirement timeline. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a retired lawyer and former art gallery owner. So I do encourage you to consult with a financial advisor, and in particular, a fiduciary advisor who is legally and ethically bound to act in the best interests of their client and to put their client's needs above their own. I'm going to be really honest with you. I struggled with the decision to retire. I kept thinking, should I work one more year, two? What if I don't have enough? Who will I even be in retirement? I did the financial math, but I didn't take into account seriously enough the life math. Had I known what I know now, I would have done things a little differently. So today I'm sharing with you the 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can do so responsibly. Not recklessly, not without a plan, but as soon as you truly can. Because here's what I've learned. There's a cost to waiting, and it's a big one. Let's dive in. Reason number 1, time is your most valuable and the most finite asset. Okay, let's do some math together. From age 60 to 80, you have approximately 1,000 weeks of healthy, active life. 1,000 weeks. Let that sink in. Now, if you're 62 and you're thinking about working until 67 to maximize your benefits, you're trading 260 of those 1,000 weeks. That's more than a quarter of your healthy life in retirement. And those early years, your 60s, are typically your healthiest, most energetic retirement years. You can travel, you can be active, you can do the things that might be harder or impossible to do at 75 or 80. So every year you delay retirement isn't just one more year of work, it's one less year of your best retirement years. If you're financially ready or even close, those retirement years are worth considering in the equation because you can't buy them back later. You don't want to be 75 and say, I wish I'd traveled more when I had the energy. And speaking of energy, let's talk about what happens to your body and your brain when you finally stop working, because this one surprised me. Reason number 2, your health actually improves when you retire. This blew my mind when I learned it, but there's actual research on this. When you retire, especially if you've been in a high-stress job, and honestly, what job isn't stressful, your cortisol levels drop. Your blood pressure goes down, you sleep better, and you have time to actually take care of yourself. When I was working, I was grabbing lunch at my desk, skipping exercise because I was too tired, and definitely not planning healthy meals or doing any of the things I knew I should have been doing for my health. And now I have time to take long walks, go to the gym, cook healthy meals instead of eating whatever's fastest. I can even take a walk in the middle of the day if I want. And here's what's wild. I have more energy now than I did when I was working because I'm not spending 8 to 10 hours a day in meetings and dealing with other people's emergencies and coming home mentally exhausted by 7 p.m. Now, some people will say, but work keeps you sharp. It gives you purpose. And we're going to talk about purpose. That's coming. What's important to realize, though, there are other ways to find purpose. Trading your health and your enjoyment of life for a few more years of salary, that math really just doesn't work. Because what good is a bigger retirement account if you're too exhausted or too sick to enjoy it? But here's an interesting perspective, and this is the part about work that you may know intuitively, but you've refused to admit to yourself. I know I did. Reason number 3, at a certain point, work is taking more from you than it's giving you. Let's be honest, for most of us, Work stops being fulfilling somewhere along the way. It did for me. Maybe it happened gradually, maybe it was sudden, but at some point you go from I'm building something meaningful to I'm just trying to get through the week. Not everyone feels this way. Some people genuinely love working right up until retirement. If that's you, great. Keep working. But for a lot of us, especially if we've been in the same field for decades, work becomes draining. You're in the same meetings, having the same conversations. You're dealing with the same office politics. You're managing the same problems you solved 10 years ago, but somehow they keep coming back like a bad penny. And the trade-off, you're spending the majority of your waking hours on something that doesn't light you up anymore, just so you can add a little more to your retirement account. Here's the question you want to ask yourself. What's the point of having a bigger nest egg if you're too tired, too burned out, and too depleted to actually enjoy the life that nest egg is supposed to fund? At a certain point, and only you know when that point is, the diminishing returns of staying at work don't justify what it's costing you mentally, emotionally, and physically, not to mention what it's costing you in time. And that's not even counting what you're missing out on, which brings me to reason number 4. Reason number 4 is you're missing moments that you can't get back. While you're working those extra years, life is happening without you. Your grandkids are growing up. Your friends are traveling. Your aging parents need your time and attention. Your spouse is ready to do things together, but you're stuck at work. And I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. No, I'm just highlighting the trade-off. Every extra year you work is a year you're not fully present for the people and experiences that actually matter. I have a friend who worked until 68 because she wanted to maximize her pension, and now she's 70 and her husband has health issues, and they never took that trip to Italy they always dreamed and talked about. And she told me recently, I wish I'd retired at 65. We would have had 3 good years to travel together. She had done everything right financially, but she didn't account for the fact that life doesn't wait for your perfect retirement plan. Now, I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow and blow your savings on a trip around the world. No. But if you're financially stable enough to retire, consider the cost of waiting. Because some things, time with the people you love, experiences you'll remember, moments that become the best memories, those have an expiration date. And that brings me to reason number 5, the one that you won't find in the retirement brochures, but might be the most important one of all. Reason number 5, you need time to pursue truly fulfilling interests, the kind that give your life meaning. This is the big one. Here's what traditional retirement advice gets wrong. It assumes that once you stop working, you're just going to relax, play golf, travel, maybe take up a hobby. And sure, that sounds nice for about 3 months. But then what? You've got 20, 25, 30 years of life ahead of you. And are you really going to spend all of that just puttering, just consuming, and spending down your savings while you fade away? Here's what I know. Humans need purpose. We need to be building something, creating, contributing. If you look around the world at cultures that consistently rank high in happiness, they are known for creativity and innovation, as well as strong social systems blended with individualism. And retirement gives you time to finally pursue the things you've always wanted to do, but never had the space for. When I retired, that thing was my art gallery until it became work. Now I've discovered YouTube and I feel like I'm home. I'm in my right place. Now, I know what you're thinking. YouTube, isn't that for 20-year-olds doing vlogs and prank videos? But here's what YouTube actually is for me. It's a way to teach, to connect, to build something meaningful, to use my brain and my experience in a way that helps people. It's creative, it's challenging, it's fulfilling. It keeps me mentally sharp and engaged. And there's a bonus. It has the potential to generate income, real income that can give me even more ways to enjoy my retirement. But But I wouldn't have had time to build this if I was still working. I wouldn't have had the mental energy to learn video editing and thumbnail design and script writing and all the other skills this requires. I needed to retire to have the bandwidth to pursue this. And YouTube is just my thing. Maybe yours is writing a book, maybe becoming a master gardener, volunteering or building furniture, or mentoring, or starting a nonprofit. Whatever it is, your thing is the thing that makes you think, this is what I want to spend my time on. This matters to me, and this is fun. But you can't do that thing, not really fully, while you're still working full time. You need space, time, energy, and that's what retiring as soon as you can gives you, the opportunity to spend your best years building something that actually matters to you instead of just collecting a paycheck. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. I know that some of you are thinking, what if I can't afford to retire yet? And that's completely valid. So let's be really clear about this. I'm not telling you to retire if you're not financially ready. That would be irresponsible and honestly bad advice. But what I am saying is, if you're close, if you're in the ballpark, it might be worth running the numbers with a financial advisor to see if retiring sooner is more feasible than you think. Because a lot of us have a number in our head, this magical amount we think we need, and we're working extra years to hit that number. But when you actually sit down and calculate what you need to live on, factor in Social Security, a pension, maybe even some part-time income from that fulfilling thing you're going to do anyway, that number might be lower than you think. And those extra years you're working to hit the perfect number, they might be costing you more in the quality of life than they're worth. So here's what I want you to hear. Retire as soon as you are responsibly able. Not recklessly, but as soon as the math works. Because every year you wait is a year you're not living the life you're supposedly saving for. Actually, you know what? I've got a bonus reason. Call it reason number 6. Here's the bonus reason. You get to redefine who you are. For decades, your identity has been tied to your work. I'm a lawyer, I'm a teacher, I'm an accountant, I'm a contractor. And that's not a bad thing, but it's also limiting because you're more than your job title. You're more than what you did for a paycheck. Retirement gives you the space to discover or rediscover who you actually are, what you care about, what lights you up, what you want your legacy to be. For me, I'm rediscovering that I'm a teacher at heart. I started life out as a teacher before I went to law school. I've always genuinely loved helping people learn and grow. I'm discovering that I'm creative in ways I never got to explore when I was billing hours and managing a gallery. I'm discovering that I have things to say and that there are people who want to hear them. But I couldn't discover any of that while I was still working. I was too busy being the person my job required me to be. Retirement gave me permission to figure out who I am at my core, not who I had to be to succeed in my career. And that's priceless. Here's the bottom line. If you're financially ready or close to ready, waiting might cost you more than it's worth. Not in dollars, in life, in energy, in health, in moments, in opportunities to build something you actually care about. And that's a trade-off you may not be willing to make anymore. So here's my question for you. If you could retire today and money was not an issue, what would you do with your time? What's the thing you'd pursue? What would you build? What would it feel like to discover yourself again? Drop a comment and tell me, because I genuinely want to know. And your answer might help someone else who's trying to figure out their own path. And if you're thinking about retiring and pursuing something meaningful, whether that's YouTube or writing or teaching or literally anything else, subscribe to this channel because we're talking here about how to prepare for and live our best lives in retirement. I'm posting every week, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. And if you found this helpful, please share it with someone who's struggling with retirement and the decision to retire or not, because sometimes we all need permission to choose life over a slightly bigger number in our retirement account. All right, my friend, life is short, the healthy years are shorter, and the years where you have the energy to build something meaningful, those are the shortest of all. Don't wait if you don't have to. I'll see you in the next video.